guys, welcome once again to the Coffee and Heroes YouTube show, your weekly roundup of everything to do with the store, Coffee and Heroes, and also giving you a little bit of an insight into stuff coming out next week, stuff that we've enjoyed from the previous week's releases, and also looking at bits and pieces in terms of like movie, TV, comics news, all the rest. So it's obviously a big week for us last week. The restrictions in Northern Ireland came to an end on the Thursday, and we were allowed to reopen in full on the Friday. Now, we do still have certain measures in place at the store. You know, we have the hand sanitizer by the door. There's gloves there if people want to use it to, you know, flick through the back issue bays or the merchandise or the graphic novels, etc. There's marked out areas in the store, you know, that we just ask that only one person per time are in that zone. We've also got reduced seating capacity in there, you know, maximum of 2 people to a table and so forth, and everything's well spaced out. So we certainly are doing everything we can to make you guys feel safe. You know, we do ask that you wear a mask when in store, just even if it's for the comfort of other people, you know, even if it's something that you don't massively believe yourself, that's absolutely fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but we would just ask in the store while you're there if you could wear a mask just to make people around you feel at ease. You know, if people are looking around the store, myself or Vicky will always wear a mask as well. So we want to do everything we can to make sure each and every person who walks through the door feels safe. So yeah, getting back to it, you know, on the Friday it was fantastic. You know, we were nice and busy. Again, it's always relative for us because busy for us in the store is always 4 or 5 people in the store at once. It's not crowds of 30, 40, 50 people. So we can still be really busy, but it's not like the shop is crowded or there's loads of people there. It's just sort of spread out throughout the day. But yeah, Friday was great, really busy. Saturday was fantastic. For December, we're obviously open on the Sundays as well, from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So we had a decent little Sunday as well. And then I'm recording this on the Monday. So I'm recording this a little later simply because, you know, being open on the Sundays now, you know, it's 7 days a week that we're open, that, you know, myself and Vicky are at the store. So it just sort of had to be put back to Monday, really, to be honest. So, but I know you guys like to always see what we're enjoying. I know you always like to get a little bit of an insight into what's coming out next as well. So I was always going to make sure to fire this in there. So yeah, in terms of other bits and pieces with the store, there's around 50 books due back from CGC in the next week or so. So if you've got titles off with us, they should hopefully arrive back in that time frame, as I say. We'll reach out to everybody and let them know when their books are in the store and are available and ready for pickup and collection and so forth. The grades that came back were really strong. They were exceptionally good in some cases as well. You know, there was a particular Walking Dead issue that, you know, I sent off for personal reasons that got an exceptionally high grade, 9.9, which I was really happy about. But yeah, by and large, I think anybody who sent books off will be happy with what they received, and again, they'll be back in the next week. There was another shipment of 25 that we sent off there about 2 weeks ago. Now, there's no guarantee they'll be back before Christmas. You know, we certainly explained that to everyone before we sent them off, because obviously you're at the behest of the postal system, at the behest of how quickly CGC grade them as well. So we'll just have to keep an eye out for that one. And again, I'll keep you guys informed with regards to any updates on that. The next shipment we send off will probably be in the new year. So if there's anything that you'd like graded, just pop in and again, we'll send it off in January. Although then again, we don't know if after Christmas, you know, certain restrictions will be implemented again and so on and so forth. So we'll play that one by ear, I think. But yeah, good week in the store, as I say. I'm just going to jump on to sort of the titles that came out this week, certainly the ones that took my eye anyway. You know, I had a pretty big pull list this week. I think it was 32 titles in total. You know, I do tend to read nearly everything that comes through the door. I may have also taken home 17 variants. I think I have a little bit of a variant problem, so interventions may be required at some point. But in terms of the titles I enjoyed this week the most, 3 really stood out for me. So the first one up is Conan the Barbarian, so number 17 of this. So Jim Zub is on the writing duties now. You know, it was Jason Aaron before, and Jim Zub has really taken up the sword, if you will, really well. And then you've Robert Gill on art for this. So this is the start of a brand new story arc. You could easily jump on at this point. Number 17, as I say, there is going to be a trade that I think will take care of everything that came before this. It was a storyline called The Crucible. And then this one is actually called Curse of the Night Star, A Feast for the Blade. So really strong stuff. really mystical, lots of echoes of Lord of the Rings and so forth in there as well. And if you're a Conan fan, I think you'll really dig what Marvel's doing with the character at the moment. As anyone who's watched this before knows, I certainly came to Conan quite late. But I'm so happy that I did jump on it. So Conan 17, great jumping on point if you fancy it. Another title that really stood out for me this week was Detective Comics 1032. So Detective Comics for me is always a strange one because it almost seems like the ugly stepchild of the Batman titles. You know, everyone wants that flagship Batman solo title. But for me, Detective at the moment is just as strong. It's a storyline by Peter J. Tomasi, so long-time Batman writer. You've got Brad Walker on art duties for this one. This is actually the variant for it, which is by Lee Bermejo. And it's a storyline involving Hush at the moment, who has kidnapped all different members of the Bat family. He's been able to subdue them, and he's actually in the process of chatting to black market organ dealers about these, you know, high value, high quality organs that he can harvest from all these superheroes who of course are peak physical condition, all that kind of stuff. But the reason that he's been able to do all of this is because Batman's focus has shifted, or split, I should say, because he's recently had a fallout with Damian, his son, and he's trying to track Damian down at the same time as everything else is happening. So really, really strong issue. There's only going to be one more issue after this by this creative team, and then it's going to be a new creative team for Future State, and then the aftermath of Future State, which I believe is Mariko Tamaki on writing duties, and then it's Dan Moore on art. So pick this up. If you haven't jumped onto it by this point, it will come out in trade, but I really recommend. These guys are doing some great stuff. But the undoubted title of the week for me, and I need to take it out of its bag if I want to give you all the creators for it. So for me, Death Metal, The Last Stories of the DC Universe. The Death Metal tie-ins, I'll be honest, some of them have been a little up and down. They've varied in quality, but this for me is the undoubted highlight so far. This is essentially a breakdown of what the characters would do if this was their last night on Earth before, you know, the impending apocalypse. You know, who would you talk to? Who would you forgive? Who would you want to be with? You know, what would you want to say? And for this one, you have, in terms of, you know, creative talent, it's a veritable who's who. So on writing duties, you've got Joshua Williamson, James Tynion IV, Scott Snyder, Jeff Lemire, Gail Simone, Cecil Castellucci, Mark Waid back on Superman. That alone is reason enough to read this. But then art-wise, you've got Travis Moore, you've got Raphael Albuquerque, you've got Megan Hetrick, Mirka Andolfo, Francis Manapul. It's just an absolutely brilliant anthology story, anthology tale this. You've got the Titans, you've got Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Aquaman, the Bat Family, and Superman. Just everything you want about the DC Universe, you know, hope, forgiveness, legacy. It has everything. You know, the Titan story in particular is an undoubted highlight, as all the Titans basically have a beach party the night before all of this, and they're basically getting a chance to do what they never had a chance to do before, because they're all kids, the Titans, and they were all brought into the superhero life at a young age. So the one thing they never got to do was just like hang out on a beach with all their friends. So if you've ever been a Titan, you're all here, you're all invited, and it all leads to Wally West making an appearance. And Wally's obviously got a very checkered history with the DC Universe in its current iteration, so it's not necessary that he's actually welcome. But a great book. Superman story by Mark Waid was pitch perfect, just, you know, full of hope, full of inspiration. You know, Superman always feeling like he can never do enough. You've got a great Batman story with Bruce calling together all the Bat family to sort of give them one last pep talk about what they mean to him. Great stuff here with Batgirl and Nightwing as well. And yeah, just a really strong book. We just recently recorded our weekly reviews podcast. And if you want to hear me gush about this a little bit more and in more detail, check that out, because pick of the week undoubtedly, and one of the best things I've read this year. So yeah, absolutely brilliant, guys. Got a couple of copies left in the store. Last Stories of the DC Universe. So that was this week's, and I'm now going to nip on to what's coming out next week as ever. So little flick through the invoice. So some really good stuff coming this week as always. This is going to be the second last release week of the year. So we're going to get these titles, which are coming out on the 16th of December. We'll get a delivery next week, which will be titles released on the 23rd. And then there's no delivery after that until the new year. So keep your eyes out for this one and next week, because those will be your last two release weeks of this year. So what have we got? We've got Aquaman 66, that's part of Endless Winter, so I believe that is part 4 of that. We have Batman 105, so this is the last issue of Batman before we go into Future State. Last issue was really cool. It left us with a bit of a cliffhanger where Clown Hunter has the chance to kill Harley Quinn, but Batman's obviously trying to stop him going down that line. We've got a Keenan Black tie-in, which is Keenan Black Cat, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to. Catwoman 28, Ram V on that, so really enjoying Catwoman at the moment. And it's going to be a case of, again, the last issue before we enter into Future State. We have, I've ordered in all of the Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky graphic novels as well, so if you're late to that and you've heard me talk about it a lot, this is the time to jump on it. You know, great read, four volumes so far, and just some of the best stuff Marvel's producing at the moment. You've got Dark Knight's Death Metal number 6, which after reading Last Stories of DC Universe, I'm really looking forward to. That's part 6 of 7, so we're nearing the end of Metal. We have Decorum number 6, very popular Jonathan Hickman indie title coming out. Have Fantastic Four number 27, so continuing with that good stuff. Immortal Hulk 41, more good Marvel stuff. And again, Iron Man number 4 as well, which has been a really solid series so far. Another Keenan Black tie-in you've got is Keenan Black Immortal Hulk number 1, so I believe this one's just a one-shot. I'm recording this a little later in the day, so that's not a coffee. A little late for coffee. We have, what else have we got? We got Miskatonic number 2, so the first issue of that Aftershock title went down really well in the store, so I know guys are looking forward to that. Got Once and Future 14, so continuing the great Kieran Gillen, Dan Mora, Tamara Bonvillain title. We have Post Americana number 1, which is a brand new Image number 1. Power Rangers number 2. The first 2 issues of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers have both went down really well so far. One of my picks of the week definitely is the Reckless hardcover. This is a new original graphic novel from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And those guys are just the experts at noir. We have Rorschach number 3, so the next issue of the Tom King Jorge Fornes title. So that's going to be something really cool. We got Stillwater number 4 by Zdarsky and Perez. Symbiote Spider-Man Keenan Black number 2, so another tie-in for that. Tales of the Dark Multiverse, Crisis on Infinite Earths, so again continuing with the Dark Multiverse one-shots. Flashpoint was a particular highlight, I thought it was excellent. We got Teen Titans Endless Winter Special number 1, so again part of the Endless Winter line. I've ordered in new printings of That Texas Blood, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So another great noir title, Western neo-noir. This is a title by Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips. Now, if you haven't checked out the podcast network recently, we interviewed these guys. Really interesting guys. Really cool sort of hour-long interview with them. They talk about sort of everything that inspired them for That Texas Blood, what to expect in the future, their influences, their favorite comics. And this will be a great place to jump on. So I was able to secure a limited amount of them because they've done these really cool sort of second and third printing covers that all form a set. And it's we've got them all coming next week, but I was only able to get a certain amount of them, so let us know if you fancy that. We've got TMNT The Last Ronin number 1, so we've got a second printing coming in of that. The first printing started to prove a little difficult. It was underprinted for what the orders were, so we do have a second printing of that coming in if you fancy it. We've got, as well as ordering in all the trades for Daredevil to bring it up to date on the racks, we've also ordered in all of Donny Cates' Venom that's available in trade so far as well, so again you can catch up on that. We have Walking Dead Deluxe number 5, so continuing the trip down memory lane, if you will, with Robert Kirkman. And then we finish off with a couple of strong titles. We've got We Only Find Them When They're Dead number 4, Wolverine Black, White and Blood number 2, and then we also have X-Force number 15, which X-Force for me continues to be the strongest of all the X titles. So yeah, tons of great stuff to look forward to this week. You know, as ever, if you watch this and anything appeals to you, look, drop us a message and we'll make sure to hold a copy over for you. It's never a problem, you know, rather than, you know, hoping that there's still some in the racks in store. Or if something appeals to you and you want it on a pull list, again, drop us a message and we can certainly organise that for you. But I thought I'd jump on to a few bits and pieces of news from this week anyway. I thought it would be wise to have a quick look at some comic news first of all, before getting to what was undoubtedly the big stories last week within the comic world, if you will. So there was an announcement that Marvel has revealed its first Alien project since acquiring the rights to the Alien and Predator franchises. So the point very simple with this, it's simply called Alien. So it's going to be a new ongoing series. It's going to focus on a Weyland-Yutani mercenary named Gabriel Cruz as he battles a new, even deadlier form of xenomorph. So it's going to be written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who recently wrote Marvel Zombies Resurrection, but is also writing Last God for DC. And it's going to be drawn by Salvador Larroca, who's very good with this franchise stuff, being an artist on Star Wars as well. So really cool first issue cover by In-Hyuk Lee. So looking forward to seeing what Marvel come up with that. You know, their licensed stuff is going very strong at the moment. I'd mentioned Conan before. Star Wars is a big draw in store as well. So, you know, I'm curious to see what they do. Marvel are maybe not so well known for their adult horror titles, but who's to say that won't change? One story which caught my eye this week, and again, this is going to be really limited, so if this, you know, appeals to you, do let me know. There's going to be a surprise comic release this week called Solid Blood, number 17. Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead, Die, 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 Firepower, you know who Robert Kirkman is. He did this little video where he talked about this comic that he wrote that was drawn by Ryan Ottley that shouldn't exist, but it magically turned up on his doorstep this week. All dramatics, of course, but the comic stores have all received the equivalent amount of copies to the equivalent of people who are on Walking Dead Deluxe. So what will happen with this one is anyone who's on Walking Dead Deluxe, I'll offer this to first, because without their pre-orders, without having Walking Dead on their pull lists, we wouldn't have received this title. But there may be 1 or 2 copies left after that, so do just let us know. We still don't even know what it is. You know, there was a rumor at one point it was going to be a surprise drop for Saga 55. I don't think that'll be the case, but it would be nice if it was. It could be the start of a new story. It could be Kirkman playing with the comic industry and releasing number 17, and then he'll go back and do numbers 1 to 16. Who knows? But what he said was, so this is apparently a comic book called Solid Blood by myself and Ryan Ottley, and this is issue 17. But the thing is, these are characters that Ryan and I had discussed doing something with post-Invincible that we definitely created, but Ryan is exclusive to Marvel. He just wrapped up an amazing run on Spider-Man and is working on something in secret now for Marvel, and I'm very busy with all the various things I'm doing. Basically, this is a comic that we did not work on that has come from I don't know where. So Kirkman is always having great fun with the comic industry, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. Actually, it probably has my attention the most this week, outside of Reckless, of course, because it just looks great. But yeah, the big story of this week was definitely with regards to the Disney Investor presentation that was on last week. So Disney were essentially showing off their hand, if you will, for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. Obviously, very heavy on the Disney Plus announcements for content for that. All the Disney stuff, I couldn't care less about. Pixar, there was a really class looking new Pixar movie that's going to debut on Christmas Day, I think, called Soul, which looks really good. But then there was loads of Star Wars announcements, and again, I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy, but there was some interesting stuff there, especially the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which is definitely the one I look forward to most. But then there was all the Marvel stuff, and holy moly did they spoil us with announcements. So first of all, you had a new trailer for WandaVision come up, and that's going to be launching on January 15th in 2021. This is still a show. I don't 100% know what to expect of it, but if it's anything to do with Tom King's excellent Vision run, then I'm all in on this. They also reiterated their commitment to the theatrical experience, and they announced the Black Widow release date of May the 7th, 2021. So this is Disney and Marvel going all in on sticking with the theatrical model. We obviously don't know what the next month holds, the next 6 months hold. You know, this pandemic has been going on so much longer than any of us expected or hoped for. And for them to draw a line in the sand and say May 7th, I really hope the world is back to some sort of normality by then. But kudos to them for sticking with that. There was also a new trailer shown for The Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is going to be debuting on Disney Plus March 19th. Trailer for this was great, just really cool tone to it, really fun, really action-packed. I'm definitely all in for this one as well. Quite a surprising one was a trailer shown for Loki, which is going to be coming out roughly May 2021 on Disney Plus. and I didn't expect them to have as much footage of this as they did. The trailers started off with that scene from Endgame where the Tesseract gets kicked towards him. He's able to take that and jump away, you know, through a porthole. So I thought the trailer looked great, really playful, really, again, quite complicated for lack of a better term, but it has my interest so much. It looks so much fun. We have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which is wrapped shooting. They have released a release date of this for July 9th, 2021. So what that means is you'll have Black Widow in May, and 2 months later you'll have another Marvel movie. I must admit I was expecting to see a trailer for this, but nothing was actually forthcoming with it. But they've apparently finished shooting, so I would imagine a trailer isn't far away. You also had a trailer for What If, which was essentially Marvel's sort of alternate reality show, if you will. It was an alternate reality comic book. So it would do things like, you know, what if Peggy Carter had become Captain America instead of Steve? You know, what if Jane Foster had become Thor, which of course developed further down the line. But this is a new animated series, and again, it looked really, really cool. You know, what if the Avengers were all zombies? What if Loki had found the hammer of Thor? That kind of thing. So looks really, really cool. It's got a really cool voice cast as well, because nearly all the guys who have played these characters in the Marvel live action cinematic universe are coming back to do voices in this. You had a quick little sizzle reel for Miss Marvel, which is going to be coming late 2021 on Disney+. This is going to introduce, you know, the MCU's first Muslim superhero, Kamala Khan. Really great run by G. Willow Wilson, going back to sort of the mid-2010s. And that's actually a character that's going to be shown in Disney+, but then is in her own show, but it's going to form part of Captain Marvel 2, which comes later. We've got Hawkeye, late 2021 on Disney+, so we've already been shown that Haley Steinfeld will be playing Kate Bishop. We've got Jeremy Renner back as Clint, and again, based on the logo and the tone of the photos and so forth, and the presence of Pizza Dog, this is going to be based very heavily on Matt Fraction and David Aja's Hawkeye run, which is right there. So even the logo that they utilized was the exact same as this. So I'm really looking forward to that show. Obviously I had a wee reread recently, so I'm about 2/3 of the way through that. So we have that. We have the Eternals, you know, November 5th, 2021. Not much information given up on that, admittedly. You have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness coming March 25th, 2022. Going to be directed by Sam Raimi. So if you're going to have the first ever horror movie in the Marvel Universe, Sam Raimi is your guy. Awesome stuff. Thor Love and Thunder, May 6th, 2022. We already know that this is going to focus heavily on Jane Foster taking over the hammer. And it was confirmed that Christian Bale will be playing Gore in this one. So the God Butcher. Now, I like to make the joke that, you know, Marvel movies sometimes struggle to make good villains, outside of Thanos and Loki back when he was a villain. And I kind of joked that if they need a good villain, they just need to get Batman. So they've already got Michael Keaton for Spider-Man Homecoming. Now they've got Batman again for this one. Black Panther 2, July 8th, 2022. So they had a nice respectful piece chatting about, you know, the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman. They're not going to recast that role. They're going to tell other stories within Wakanda there. They reiterated their commitment to Blade. Just said that things are in the works, but they haven't actually much to announce on that. Just keep an eye out. Captain Marvel 2, November 11th, 2022. We also have She-Hulk. They really did spoil us with announcements. She-Hulk, which is going to be 2022 on Disney+. I did rather enjoy the fact that they talked about how there are many lawyers in the Marvel Universe. Who knows who'll show up. So I was taking that as a thin hint, if you will, that Charlie Cox will be coming back as Daredevil, which would be great. Just started watching Daredevil Season 3 this week, actually 3 episodes into that, so really digging that. You have Moon Knight 2022 on Disney Plus as well. Secret Invasion. Now this did surprise me as well, because Secret Invasion is probably one of Marvel's biggest storylines for the last 20 years. And now they're actually going to be doing it just on TV with Nick Fury and Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull Talos. This to me would have been the kind of movie they built towards the same way they did with Infinity War or with Endgame. So quite surprised to see that. You have Ironheart announced for Disney Plus as well. So Riri Williams, who, you know, essentially takes over the mantle of Iron Man. You have Armor Wars 2022, which is going to follow War Machine, which is all to do with Armor Wars was all to do with Tony Stark's worst fear. You know, what happens when his technology falls into the wrong hands. Randomly, there's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special in 2022, but this is going to be directed by James Gunn, which is sweet. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. No release date given for this one, but someone made the point that this could potentially be Marvel's best trilogy. I'm a huge fan of Ant-Man 1 and 2, so I can get on board with that thought if this is good. Captain America currently holds it more on the strength of the first two movies than the third, though. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, going to be coming 2023. I Am Groot, which is going to be on Disney+, which is going to be a series of shorts, basically, dealing with Baby Groot. And then they saved the sort of biggest announcement for last, that they are currently working on a Fantastic Four movie. Of course, Marvel have only just got the rights back to Fantastic Four. 20th Century Fox held them for a long time. They did announce the director of it, which is John Watts, who directed Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. So they've got a trusted hand on that. What I will say about that is, give me John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as Reed Richards and Sue Storm, or else I'm out. That is just perfect. I've seen way too much fan art at this point for it not to be those guys. So yeah, suffice to say, tons and tons of Marvel announcements in the last week. Again, there was a lot of Star Wars ones as well. So Disney and Marvel are going all in on this. Clearly, they've got the next few years planned out. They are committed to the theatrical model. Obviously, there was a lot of Disney Plus there, but there was also a lot of Marvel movie news there as well. So yeah, kind of feel like I need a break after that. So yeah, tons to look forward to there with Marvel and Disney. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for this week. As ever, you can find me in the store. We'll be open 7 days a week this week. You know, Monday to Saturday is the traditional 10 to half 5, and then we'll be open on the Sunday 1 to 5. Keep an eye on the podcast network as well. We've got some really class interviews that we've recorded coming up soon with some top level creators. We've also got a new review show going on there this week as well. So plenty to keep an eye out for there, and as well as the YouTube stuff. I will be going to see Wonder Woman 84 on Wednesday, so I may throw up a wee review for that on the YouTube channel as well. So really looking forward to enjoying the theatrical experience again. So we'll look forward to that on Wednesday. Vic and I'll be heading to that. So hope you guys are staying safe out there and looking after each other. And I look forward to seeing you in store. So take it easy.